All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Wake Up Call. It's a little different Friday today, so I hope everybody can hear me. We're going to do Chapter 64 in the Little Things Matter. Don't Steal the Show. So we have Leanne Masters on the line with us. Hopefully she's going to I know she's going to do a great job. So, Leanne, I'm going to give it to you.
Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, and great job, Nancy. You know, when I sub in for this, because I'm not an early morning person, and it's early out here in California, it's always like God's timing is perfect. I believe on this chapter 64, Don't Steal the Show, that every single one of us can relate to this. So here we go. Have we ever all been, annoyed when we're in a hurry, someone cuts us off in traffic, or we've been waiting patiently in a long line, grocery store, post office, wherever, and someone just decides that they could just slip right in ahead of us and go to the front of the line? I mean, does it make you want to say, hello, with a sarcastic tone, or ask, really, what makes you think you're more important than I am? I'm sure all of us have situations like that throughout our day or throughout our weeks. So it's no different when it comes to communication. There's nothing that is more frustrating when someone barges in and imposes their agenda on us by simply offering, a similar experience to what we personally want to share. And there's an example in this chapter, and there's many of them. I'm sure all of you are thinking of them right now in your own head. But the example in this chapter is, if a friend's excited to tell you about his deep-sea fishing adventure where he caught an 80-pound yellowfin tuna, resist the temptation to tell him about the 90-pound tarpon you landed in the local fishing tournament. Let him enjoy the moment and fully share his experience. Don't take over the conversation by drawing the attention away from him and his story. In other words, quote, unquote, the name of the chapter, Don't Steal the Show. I made a personal note on there. We call it Don't One-Up Somebody, okay? I'm sure we've all been around situations like that and maybe even unintentionally done that ourselves to somebody unintentionally. And it's interesting because it goes on to talk about that in this chapter. So if someone that we know is going through a difficult time and they share that difficult time with us, an important tip to remember here in this chapter that they're sharing with us is there's no need to interject how you felt when you experienced something similar. Just simply allow the person to communicate their feelings. I underlined this because I wanted to make sure that all of us grabbed a hold of this. Listening quietly is actually the best way to show you care about the person. And I wanted to take a pause here and interject that I was thinking about that, and I'm sure as I'm talking and we're going through this briefly, you can relate. We're all the same. When someone is listening to what we're saying, actually listening intently, it makes you feel like you're being heard. It's a spectacular thing. You feel important, loved. So none of us intend to be, quote unquote, a show stealer. On the contrary, people actually believe that it helps to build rapport to relate in this manner. The following distinction keeps us all from stealing the show. This is an important one. Relate to the person, not the moment. To accomplish that, give the gift of listening. Listening with a genuine interest and without barging in, cutting them off, or stealing the show. Powerful. Little things matter. That's a little thing that matters, right? Super powerful. So if you're able to take some notes, and write something down, the challenge for this chapter today, Don't Steal the Show, is this. Consider these suggestions to avoid stealing the show. Number 1, listen to the conversations going on around you. Hear what show stealing sounds like. You'll be amazed at how common it really is. Pay specific attention to the person whose joy or experience is being robbed. Notice their facial expression, the body language, and the overall demeanor. Number 2, focus on listening more and talking less. Most successful people are able to control their tongues. An occasional sincere response along the lines of, wow, that's amazing, or I'm proud of you, or I'm sorry you're going through this, will be welcomed. And third and final, for the challenge, the next time someone shares an experience with you and you feel the need to comment, ask yourself, take a pause. Shelley Alley used to say this all the time, count to 5, count to 10, take that pause. Am I about to steal the show? So pause and ask yourself that question. If you are, use self-control and resist the temptation. When the conversation has concluded and you have successfully withheld your comment or story, take a moment to recognize that you've done the right thing. Doing so is a great way to reinforce this little things matter. And then highlighted in this chapter in the book, it just is a reminder that I think is a beautiful reminder. One of the most effective ways to connect with people is to listen intently and avoid interrupting as they tell/share their experiences. So, Nancy, I thought this was a very powerful chapter. As I said earlier, I believe that we all experience it. We've been on both sides of it. So what a beautiful reminder so that we can all be considerate towards people. Do you have thoughts on that?
I do, and I tell you what, it resonated all over me when I read this, because I don't know where I got the training or where I got the mindset. I always felt like that I was connecting with someone when I told them of the similar experience that I would have, not thinking about that it was upping them, but feeling like it was relating to them and letting them relate to me. So this was really huge for me, and I think it's going to help me a lot.
I felt the same way. And what's funny to me is as I was reading this, I was like, oh my gosh, by sharing my experience, am I one-upping somebody? And so, we probably all feel the same, but I felt that same way. And so this was a real blessing. And so I know walking away from this, I want to remember that how we distinct from stealing the show is by relating to the person and not the moment, and just really being there, listening and remembering things like, I'm proud of you, I'm sorry you're going through this, because I believe that all of our hearts are pure and good. So, wow, this is a little things matter that is a game changer in how we leave people, as we end a conversation, as we walk away from them. This little thing right here that we've all heard today is going to help us to leave that person better off and feel heard. So, Nancy, I want to thank you for being on here today with me. Fantastic job. And everyone that's listening in, hopefully this blessed you today and gave you something wonderful to think about. I know that I'm going to take this challenge today and continue to hopefully do better and better. So everyone, make it a great Friday. Have a blessed day, and goodbye for now.
I'm going to unmute, and everybody can say goodbye.
Bye, ladies.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a great day, everybody.